I wanted to make a video on how does one say, I'm having breakfast, I'm having lunch, I'm having dinner. You know, in English, we will say, I'm having dinner, or I'm going to eat dinner, or I'm eating dinner. We always have another verb, and dinner becomes the subject. So dinner is not the verb. Now we can say, I dine. We don't do that very often. That's kind of formal, and we can do it, but we don't do it often. You might see it written, maybe. Sometimes people's writing is a little more formal than their speech. Some people might use that, but it's not that common. But you don't hear, I lunch at, you don't generally hear that. So it's more, I have lunch. Well, in some languages, in Russian is one of them, and then there's a little subtle difference in Italian and French. But in some languages, you will have a verb that contains the thought of having breakfast. It's like you don't say three things, you say two things. So for instance, I put something on the stove and that needs to be turned down. Okay. So, for instance, if you want to say, you know, I'm having breakfast in Russian, я завтракаю. And завтрак is breakfast. And you would say, я завтракаю. I am having breakfast. That contains that entire thought. We don't do that in English, so that's a little bit tricky. They do it for all three. They can do this for all three meals. I don't know. They can probably do it in other ways too. But this is generally what I've been exposed to. So, я обедаю. And so that's, I'm having lunch. And я ужинаю. I'm having dinner. So again, in some languages, Russian is one of them, and there are others, the whole idea of having a meal is contained in one verb. Now, French and Italian are similar in that, well, it's really funny because in Italian, as far as I can tell, if you have breakfast, it's fare colazione. So you do include another verb, and breakfast is the subject. Io faccio colazione. Sorry, my pronunciation needs work. I don't do as much speaking. I do a lot of reading and writing and that type of thing. But if you say, I have lunch, io pranzo. So there again, you have that whole idea of eating lunch being contained in that one verb. And io ceno, for dinner. I hope I have that right. But I think so. And in French, it's very similar. To have breakfast, prendre le petit déjeuner. And basically you're saying, it's like I take breakfast, really. And, for, like, I have dinner, je dîne. I dine. I have dinner, from the verb dîner, D-I-N-E-R. So when you learn your language, make sure you know how to say the meals that you're going to eat, because it may be different. And I'll write some of this in the comments.